Good Monday afternoon, everybody. My name is Eli Robinson. I am the Chief Trivia Officer here at Water Cooler Trivia, bringing you our weekly trivia review here on Twitch and YouTube. What is Water Cooler Trivia? It is a weekly trivia game for you, your coworkers, your companies, your groups, your organizations, whatever it may be, to come together, play a little trivia online, have a good time doing it, ultimately see who the winners are, have a little fun, whatever it may be. We do this every single week. You can find us online at watercoolertrivia.com. We have a 4-week free trial. And then we show up here on Twitch and YouTube when we talk about what happened with this week's game. This week's game is called American Pie. How did we set it up? A long time ago, I can still remember how that music used to make me smile. I think we put in the quiz review that you either really like the intro to that song or you're tired of hearing it on your dad's old CD player or 8-track or cassette or whatever it may be. So begin Don McLean's masterpiece recorded 52 years ago. This week, May 26, 1971. Over the course of the last half-century, the sights, sounds, and characters from his legendary song have been an endless source of discussion, speculation, and admiration. So kick off your dancing shoes, and let's grab ourselves a little pre-Memorial Day slice of American Pie. So let's take a look at how the results panned out. Over 35% of people got a perfect score, which is awesome. I reckon that the song is famous enough, which we'll get to in a second, for people to recognize some of the questions from it. Talk about where we got it. Otherwise, looks like kind of their standard distribution when the question ends up being easy, an average of 8.44 and a median of 9. All right, so let's start with the big question. Like, how famous do you have to be to get a round like this? Last week, the inspiration for the round was Seinfeld. I think everybody would agree that Seinfeld is famous enough for, an average group of people to be okay with a round to be themed. American Pie gets a little bit closer to the line, so we clearly believe that the song is famous enough for enough people to be aware of it. But it really is a good question. Like, ultimately, you didn't really need to know anything about American Pie in order for to succeed in this week's game. But I think it's something that we want to constantly be asking ourselves, right? Like, we're not a niche trivia game. We're a trivia game that's designed for people all over the country and all over the world. So we have to be careful to not get too inside. Once again, American Pie is a very, very famous song. It's been a very, very famous song for a very, very long time. So I don't think we crossed that line or even got close to it. But I will say that when you get into something like this, you'll see us start to ask ourselves that question as to whether or not we are being too niche with the source material that we use. But most of the time we don't even get close. Like 2 weeks ago was Mother's Day, for example. But just wanted to kind of let y'all know that is the type of question that we ask ourselves. So showing a little bit how we came up with the inspiration for the game. For those of you who know, American Pie is a really, really long song. Has lots of allusions to various things that went on in American society before 1971. And here we just kind of made a list of all the ones that we used for the question. So there was a question about Marx, rhythm and blues, James Dean, etc. So there were two ways to get at the question. You could know the reference from the song, which a few people may have understood and gotten, or we asked just standard trivia questions that people would be able to get without it. We don't know the overlap. I'm assuming that the people who know the references from the song, we hope that there's people who just got it from the reference from the song and not from the question otherwise. Although we reckon that there's a pretty large overlap from the people who understood the references for the people who actually knew the answers to the trivia questions. But we'd be interested if you want to write it and let us know if you were one or the other. Like, that would be very, very cool. One question I wanted to talk about today. It makes sense that everyone would be in one place. I believe the lyric of the song, and there we were all in one place, a generation lost in space, which was the answer, would be in one place when what CBS interstellar sci-fi show that gave us the title the line Danger, Will Robinson, aired from 1965 to 1968. So the answer was Lost in Space. Some people would know this straight up. Some people know this because of Danger, Will Robinson, and like I said, a couple people would be aware of this because they're aware of the American Pie song lyrics. So classic TV. We ask classic TV trivia questions around here. It's an unbelievably divisive topic. There are some people who think that classic TV is like the ultimate trivia. Like, the whole point of trivia is to go oftentimes back in time to things that are no longer particularly important but are interesting to know. And so why wouldn't you ask about classic TV? I think the answer, and we have a few more classic TV questions coming in the coming weeks, the answer is that, like, a lot of people just don't care. And I don't know exactly where I come down in the argument. I think television trivia in general is very difficult because of these days, especially how robust and how much TV there actually is. Back then in the late 60s, there wasn't such a high proliferation of total shows. But it is like something that we have to think about. Like we can't just ask, questions about the Jeffersons because there's a lot of people who just don't care of TV that came out after they were watching it. But it was about 65% correct. I think Lost in Space is famous enough. We'll try to keep, when we go back in time, to the I Love Lucy's of the world so that people know that we do care about them getting the correct answer. Once again, my name is Eli Robinson. I'm the Chief Trivia Officer here at Water Cooler Trivia. Next week, we're back with cheeses, I believe. Say cheese. But until then, keep on tripping on.